What's good? It's your host, Philly Fell, and I'm here to talk that talk. And today, I want to talk about how Jalen Hurts is the greatest Eagles quarterback of all time. Yeah, I said it. He's the greatest, man. After winning the Super Bowl and becoming Super Bowl 59 MVP, Jalen Hurts has cemented himself as the greatest Eagles quarterback of all time. And yeah, I said it, that's over Donovan McNabb, of course. He had a great 11 years with us, and we can't discount a lot of the winning seasons that Donovan McNabb helped bring us with Andy Reid. But come down to it, Donovan McNabb can never get it done. 4 straight NFC Championship games, only 1 win. And when he took us to the Super Bowl, he couldn't get it done. He could not beat Tom Brady and Bill Belichick and those Patriots in the one Super Bowl he played. And I mean, we know he had that beef with Terrell Owens, but Terrell Owens said it himself that Donovan wasn't ready. They said he was throwing up in the huddle. They said he wasn't making the right passes. I believe he had 3 interceptions in a big game. And Jalen Hurts, he doesn't turn the ball over like that in big games, man. He has 1 turnover in each Super Bowl appearance with 1 Super Bowl win and 1 Super Bowl MVP. But if you're new here, I want you to like, comment, and subscribe to Talk That Talk Philly podcast, where you get the greatest Eagles content and news from your host himself, Philly Fell. But let's get into these stats, man. In the first 5 seasons, Jalen Hurts has had 17,803 total yards compared to Donovan McNabb's 15,282 yards. Jalen Hurts has had 140 total touchdowns compared to McNabb's 104 total touchdowns. And lastly, Jalen Hurts has had 55 turnovers compared to Donovan McNabb's 52 turnovers. Now let me put all this in perspective so you know how each of the 5 seasons went for both Jalen Hurts and Donovan McNabb. Let's start with Donovan McNabb. Donovan McNabb was drafted in 1992 as the 2nd overall pick, which was frowned upon by Eagles fans because they wanted running back Ricky Williams. Yeah, I said it. They wanted running back Ricky Williams, and everybody knew it. But, you know, Donovan McNabb had to shrug it off. He had to shrug the booze off at the draft, and he came in his rookie year and started midway through the season compared to Jalen Hurts, who had to sit his whole rookie year behind Carson Wentz and started his 2nd year. He's been in the playoffs every year since he's became a starter. 2nd year full-time starting, he leads us to the Super Bowl in his 2nd in MVP voting and has a great, outstanding performance in the Super Bowl, which we can't say the same for Donovan McNabb. Like I said earlier, Terrell Owens said he was throwing up in the huddle. He threw 3 interceptions. He was throwing dirt balls. We never had a chance in that Super Bowl against Tom Brady. And I believe that if McNabb turned in a better performance against those Patriots, we would have won. We only lost by 3 points, even though the score is not really indicative of how that game went because we were down 10 points in the 4th quarter. McNabb never gave us a chance because he was nervous in the big game and he didn't display the big game ability that Jalen Hurts continues to display every Super Bowl he appears in. It's the 2nd Super Bowl. Jalen Hurts has outplayed a GOAT and Patrick Mahomes in 2 Super Bowl appearances with 1 win. If Jalen Hurts would have got some help from his defense in the first Super Bowl, I believe that Jalen Hurts would have 2 rings on his fingers at this point. I think there's no debate that Jalen Hurts is a better quarterback than Donovan McNabb ever was and ever will be, because Jalen Hurts, he going to bring that Lombardi back to Broad Street a couple times before his career is over. And I stamp it here. Philly Fell says it here. Jalen Hurts will bring multiple Lombardis back to Broad Street. One thing that McNabb and Hurts have in common is that when Hurts was picked in the 2020 draft with the 53rd pick, the fan base also booed the pick because we had Carson Wentz starting at quarterback, and the fan base wanted Howie Roseman to pick some receivers and some running backs and some defensive players to help the team build around Carson Wentz. And I would say that gamble that Howie Roseman took on Jalen Hurts because of his intangibles and his skill set, I would say it paid off. I mean, we got our 2nd Lombardi, and Jalen Hurts was able to do something that Donovan McNabb wasn't able to do, which was bring that Lombardi to Broad Street. So I say all this to say that clearly Jalen Hurts is a better Eagles quarterback than Donovan McNabb. And we've done had some great quarterbacks in our day. We done had Randall Cunningham, who couldn't get it done. We had Michael Vick. We took a chance on Michael Vick coming from jail. He couldn't get it done in the short years he was here. You know, we had some great quarterbacks. I mean, luckily, Nick Foles was able to save us when Carson Wentz went down in the first Super Bowl year. But this Super Bowl was special because it was won by a quarterback that we drafted and was decorated already as the franchise guy, and that we invested $50+ million per year in, and he gave us the ultimate payout, which was a Lombardi trophy. They already calling Jalen Hurts as possibly the best dual threat quarterback of all time because in his 5 years in the league and 4 years starting, he already has 3,133 rushing yards with 55 rush touchdowns. And yeah, I know everybody gonna say he's the tush push merchant, but he has multiple plays where he ran for 30, for 20, for 40 yards. And what y'all gonna say about that? He did it in the playoffs against the Rams this year. Had a 40-something yard touchdown against the Rams in the playoffs. What y'all gonna say about that? And Donovan, in his 11 years of starting with the Eagles, he has only 3,459 rushing yards. So Jalen Hurts already eclipsed that in less than half of those 11 years. That's crazy, man. How can you say that Jalen Hurts isn't the greatest Eagles quarterback of all time when all this guy does is win? In the NFC and the AFC, he has a great record. He outdueled the GOATs of his lifetime in his career, beating Pat Mahomes, outdueling him twice in the Super Bowl, even though he lost one. What can you say about the man? I can't say the same about Donovan McNabb. Yes, his name is up in the rafters, his jersey is retired, but I feel like Jalen Hurts might possibly be the greatest, one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. Like I said, a dual threat quarterback of all time when his career is over. I think he's going to bring multiple rings back to the city, and I'm stamping it here. Philly Fel says it. Jalen Hurts is the greatest Eagles quarterback of all time already in his short 5-year career, and it's just like that. But if you're new here, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and I want to hear y'all perspective on this, man. Is Jalen Hurts the greatest Eagles quarterback of all time already? Is he better than McNabb? Is he better than Cunningham? Is he better than Vic? Y'all tell me, and I'm out.